Today we head to Brazil for a UFO story that has potentially a ton of credible witnesses. What became known as the Colares UFO incident took place in the 1970s, but it would be nearly 30 years until we would learn the truth about the creepy and odd experiences numerous Brazilians had. Today, we'll tell this story, give our thoughts, and tie it into some recent, bizarre sightings happening today in the United States. I'm Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Dave. If you thought we'd already covered all the best UFO stories, stick around. Just like the priest told all his friends when I finally turned 9, good things come to those who wait. This is Necronomipod.
So we should acknowledge off the top here that probably since the first time since COVID era 2020, we are all recording in separate locations tonight.
Yeah.
And no, Dave is not on vacation.
Not yet. Fuckos.
Give it time. He'll have something booked by then within the next hour. I have bronchitis and have been coughing up a storm most of the week and didn't want to spread it to you guys. So we are all, we wanted to try doing some recording sessions all in our own different locations to see how it works. So this was a good excuse to try it out.
Mm-hmm. Plus it's snowing out too. We got a snowstorm going on.
Yeah, we're getting hit with our first big snow of the year.
Did you get some good meds from the doc? Did you find a doc to get you a script for some scissor, maybe?
I did not get some
Sipping
scissor.
on some lean doing the show this evening? No?
Now that would be a hell of a time. I think I've said before, I want us to do a show on some scissor and some purple drank and all that fun stuff.
Purple drank.
Hey, let's have a fucking party on a show. That'd be a hell of a time. No, I've been taking boring stuff like Mucinex and yeah, finally got on a steroid today and an inhaler. But I also took something called, I think it's called Delsim, and it's like a thick liquid, like almost gel, and it like coats your throat and kind of like just stops you. It's just a cough suppressant. It's really all it is. But it's Ian and I were just talking before we went live. Like it doesn't taste like cough syrup that like we took when we were kids. It's like orange citrusy flavored and kind of chalky, but it works pretty well. So anyways, I think that's just over the counter shit. This was supposed to be a bonus show that we bumped up because we thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, it's a good little UFO story.
Including some good names of people and places and operations. I feel like tonight these names are going to, shall we say, cook Ian's Portugoose.
I'm going to try and just say these names, just one take, say them with confidence.
No editing, just leave them in.
Yeah.
Say, I think that's the way to do it.
I like it.
Yeah. We'll see how far I get. I feel like I'm going to stutter on the first one.
Well, now you've hyped it up, so now yeah, it's going to be a thing.
I mean, there can't be that many Portuguese speakers listening, right? We can get away with a lot of these.
I put it under 4. It's based on the research notes Declan gave me on our demographics. He wrote it in crayon, so I'm not sure how legit it is, but
Not get cut to a break even in the holiday season, huh?
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Colares is a small island in Brazil surrounded by the Amazon rainforest. Back in 1970, it was a quiet fishing village. Their life was simple, slow-paced, with the community relying on fishing and small-scale farming. Men fished in the surrounding waters while women tended to gardens. The villages had limited electricity, dirt roads, and no modern communication, like telephones or television, leaving it isolated from the world outside. News traveled by radio or word of mouth.
Man, that sounds nice. I could get into that these days.
Just complete quiet.
Yeah.
Go the Jesse Ventura route, just off the grid.
Off the grid. Fish, work the land with my hands. Peace and serenity now. After about a week, I'd go nuts, but it sounds good for a week.
It's a nice vacation.
Yeah.
In 1977, villagers began reporting strange lights in the night sky. At first, these were dismissed as local folklore, which consists of stories about spirits and mysterious beings. So they already had these like supernatural tales going on. However, as the sightings continued and the lights began interacting with people, fear spread throughout the community. The Brazilian Air Force eventually launched an investigation called Operation Saucer to study the phenomenon, which we'll get into the operation later. It also gets called Operation Plate as well. Operation Plate is a direct translation from Portuguese.
Sense,
In the 1990s, leaked documents from Operation Saucer surfaced and included sketches, pictures, and witness interviews describing strange lights, unexplained injuries, and other encounters. Military personnel recorded hand-drawn illustrations of saucer-shaped or barrel-like objects, some emitting beams of light that reportedly caused burns or temporary paralysis. These leaks were incomplete and poor quality photocopies, but it was more than enough to spread through the UFO world and become a case that was referenced to a lot back in the 90s, like 90s UFO books.
So is this one that like you read about kind of like growing up, getting into like UFOs and stuff? Had you heard about this one in like all the books?
Yeah, it was always brought up in like in any of those TV shows, you know. It's an example of like when UFOs are scary, like when they attack people. But
fucking
there was never
saucers,
anything.
man. I'm gonna investigate that shit when I get older. Going to fucking Brazil. He should tell my friend Marvin down by the creek. Going to Brazil.
Marvin.
Marvin.
Have we used Marvin
right.
before? Is that a new friend? Introduced to the show? High school Marvin.
Weird hillbilly named Marvin down by the creek.
He lives down by the creek, and when Ian goes there to visit, he just talks to Marvin. He tells Marvin all of his hopes and dreams for the future.
Well, I'll believe you, Ian. You're going to make something of yourself, boy. You're going to go up to the bright lights and big city. You're going to be one of them podcasters. I just know it.
I like to think that Marvin's still sitting out by that creek with an iPhone 4, and he can listen to Ian now each and every week. And
I knew that boy was going to be something.
Yeah, he's got like there's like a tear streaming down his cheek. He's just like, I knew he was going to make it.
Fucking told you, Marvin. You fuck. I knew it.
Meanwhile, he's just
fucking weather balloons.
He's surrounded by broken needles and meth. But
that
he's
boy
so
wasn't
happy.
lying. He wasn't lying. Fucking Marvin. Fuck that guy.
I think that could be a shirt. Marvin down by the creek.
In 1997, there was a breakthrough in the case. Captain Eurange Holanda, who led the Brazilian Air Force's Operation Saucer, broke his silence in an interview with journalist Admar Javerd for Revista UFO. Holanda confirmed the credibility of the sightings and described the UFOs as far more alarming and dangerous than previously believed. Like, you kind of heard about the attacks, but when he talked about it, it was like, oh no, these are like way scarier than we thought. Holanda also recounted his personal experiences, including seeing dish-shaped craft hovering above treetops, giving off pulsating lights. He said, quote, "It felt like they knew we were there," suggesting that there was an intelligence behind the phenomena. In one incident, a beam of light from a UFO scanned his team's camp, which scared the shit out of him and his men, and that's stuff we'll get into a little bit later as well. A few months after his 1997 interview, Captain Hollanda was found dead in his home, which it was officially ruled a suicide, but you could imagine that just like went through the UFO community like, holy shit, this guy was killed because he gave this interview.
Yeah, timing's a little questionable.
Fellas, don't worry. I sent Fahmy Malik down there. He investigated it. Everything was on the up and up. There were four holes in the back of his head, but it's definitely a suicide. So,
Dog ate him.
yeah, don't worry about it. No nonsense going on down there for sure.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate you diving into this and clearing that up for us.
In 2004, Admar Javard and others launched the Freedom of Information Now campaign, rallying support from scientists, journalists, and citizens. And this included a petition of 36,000 signatures. And a lot of them were signatures of important people, like, you know, like I said, scientists and stuff, not some random dude hanging out.
Pele?
On the street.
Did Pele sign it?
Maybe he did. I
hope
don't know.
he did.
Declan, go find out if Pele signed this. I have since I'm not in the studio today, I have a special speaker box that I gave him that I can, it's walkie-talkies, but we call them our special speaker boxes, and he thinks it's a cool thing.
I hear some rustling in the next room, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he probably was jerking off to photos of, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate what he was jerking off to, but it startled him, I'm sure. But he'll get on it. He'll let us know. His computer doesn't have internet access. But he thinks it does. It's very much
resources is he accessing then?
He's not really, but it makes him feel good.
Okay.
It's like Creed from The Office with his blog, or it's just a Word document. It's just
Creed's
best.
blog. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's best if it just goes that way.
Initially, the Brazilian Air Force resisted releasing the documents, citing national security concerns. However, growing public interest in some international influences, like a big 2004 release by the United States, a bunch of UFO files through the Freedom of Information Act, got Brazil to loosen up a bit. In May of 2004, the Brazilian Air Force took the first step by announcing plans to release part of its UFO files, and they were going to start with Operation Saucer.
Let's go. Yeah.
On May 20th, 2005, the Brazilian Air Force made good on their promise and hosted a meeting where military officials shared portions of their classified UFO files with civilian researchers for the first time. One of the most notable things, aside from Operation Saucer, were encounters that happened with military pilots, which those are always cool to see because those are the most credible accounts of anybody.
I think that's right, yeah.
In one reported incident, a pilot flying a reconnaissance mission during Operation Saucer was followed by a glowing orb at 3,000 feet. The object mirrored the plane's movements with precision, emitted a pulsing blue light that disrupted radio signals, and approached within 700 feet of the plane. After 15 minutes, it abruptly shot up and disappeared.
It's fairly close. You don't want to see anything outside.
Sure.
It's 700 feet away from you.
Especially being in the air, like 700 feet in the air is much different than 700 feet on the ground.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's scary
terrifying.
close. Like, if you're 700 feet in the air, you're probably describing it as like, I could almost see the whites of their eyes. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild.
And it's just an orb of light. There's no detail to it or anything. Like, you would expect being in the sky that 700 feet, you would be able to make out some form of some detail.
Yeah.
You know.
The only person ever should get that close is Tom Cruise. He's a Top Gun pilot flying upside down on a Russian MiG and giving him the bird. If that's not
true.
You can't get that close.
I would also argue Will Smith, because in Independence Day, he was pretty good. That's what he
allow
calls
it.
a close encounter. What is he opens like the UFO the door and the alien's there and he punches it and he goes, "Welcome to planet Earth."
I think he calls it a bitch afterwards too.
Did he? He might have.
He Chris
might have.
rocked that motherfucker, man.
He did. He really did.
Another account detailed a joint encounter where 2 military planes on a training mission were pursued by multiple UFOs.
Well, if anyone knows about
The
joint
object-
encounters, it's you, pothead.
Yeah. It's a good way to see aliens.
I have to keep hitting the mute button because every time I laugh, it makes me start coughing. And
Yeah, because you don't have any fucking scissor. That's the missing ingredient, pal.
I know I should have came by your house and hooked up with your guy and got some scissor.
Whoa! I don't have any scissor in my house. Let's not be spreading rumors like that.
Sorry. Do you know a guy though? Give me the kayfabe sign.
No.
All right. Well, if anyone knows where I can get some scissor, email Declan. Declan at Microsoft Word.
Purpledrank.askjeeves.com.
Sometimes I'll sneak into his office in the little gimmick laptop we have for him. I'll open a new Word document and I'll leave a message for him and I'll save it to his desktop and he thinks he gets a new email and it'll just be his to-do list for the day. But, he gets excited.
He's like, this is cool. I'm one of the fellas. I like technology.
Dear, I always start him, dearest fuckboy.
So those objects, there's 2 military planes flying, and the objects formed a triangular formation around both of the planes, flashed blue and red lights, and moved in complete silence. And this one seems kind of aggressive. Like the last one we talked about was 700 feet from the plane. But in this incident, they got close like that, but they kind of swarmed. And they said that there were 6 of them on one side of the formation and 7 on the other side, and just kind of, it was just observing them.
Yeah. Blue and red lights. They thought the popos were pulling them over up at 3,000 feet.
After going through the pilot accounts and things like that, the Brazilian Air Force brought out the Operation Saucer files. So let's backtrack and go through all the files that they released from 1977. The strange events began quietly with scattered reports of mysterious lights in the sky. On August 18th, 1977, Maria Jose da Silva, a local school teacher, saw a bluish-white light hovering over the treetops near her home. She described it as, quote, a star that grew larger and came down, making a soft humming sound before disappearing. A week later, on August 25th, a fisherman, Jose Alberto, saw a reddish-orange orb gliding silently over the water near Villa do Conde. It followed his boat for several minutes before suddenly shooting away at an incredible speed. By September, the sightings became more frequent and harder to ignore. People reported lights that seemed to move with purpose, darting behind clouds to hide, hovering over homes, and even following people. Witnesses described the objects as circular or oval-shaped, ranging from small to several feet wide, glowing in colors like bright yellow, red, deep blue, and violet. And pretty soon into the story, the phenomenon earned a local nickname, Chupa Chupa, which literally translates to suck suck.
Siri, text my wife Chupa Chupa every hour on the hour, please. Thank you.
That's a whole new. We got 2 words for you. Suck suck. There's another shirt idea. Chupa Chupa.
Chupa Chupa. I like it.
We get this name from an account from Maria Jose Coutinho, a 38-year-old mother of 3 who lived a simple life in Colares. Her house was built from traditional Amazonian materials, and on September 6th, 1977, she went to bed early, sleeping in her hammock in a quiet, candlelit room. Which, that's kind of cool. Everybody here in these villages, they sleep in hammocks.
Is that comfortable night after night like that?
I don't know.
I wonder.
I've been in a hammock before. They're okay, I guess. Like, I get it. The swinging outside.
For an afternoon nap, but not to sleep in
Yes.
night after night.
Yeah, maybe a nap. And even then, I'm not even sure I'm falling asleep in one. But I could read a book in one for an hour or two.
Yeah. And what
a nice
Amazonian
little-
materials are they talking about? I've ordered whole beds off of Amazon, so they need to get with the plan here. But I agree. On a nice spring summer day, sitting out in the hammock, blowing in the breeze, getting a little chupa chupa. That's nice.
There you go. Now we're talking.
We're also talking a pretty hot area, too. We're talking like rainforest, so it's probably more comfortable to swing in a hammock than lay in a bed, right?
That's a good point.
Some airflow below you. Yeah, probably.
That airflow below you probably that's something. There's something to that. Just get that under sweat taken care of, not have to worry about that.
Mike's a believer.
They might convince me and bring me over.
Go to Amazon and order a hammock.
Yeah.
Around 11:30 p.m., Maria woke up to a bright beam of light coming through her roof. At first, she thought it might be a fire, or maybe she was dreaming, but the light grew stronger. It focused directly on her chest and started glowing reddish yellow with a bluish aura, and it radiated heat. She felt paralyzed, describing the sensation as, quote, an invisible hand pressing down on her body. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. When the beam disappeared, Maria was left shaking and drenched in sweat.
Look, a good chupa chupa should leave you in that state. So, you know what I'm saying?
She started yelling for help, and neighbors came in to find her laying on the floor, holding her chest. Soon after, she noticed a small puncture wound in her arm that was surrounded in swelling and a constant burning sensation in her chest. And she also had numbness in her right hand and very drained, extremely weak feeling as well. Local doctor Willade Carvello took care of Maria, and Maria told Dr. Carvello she felt as though, quote, something had been taken from her. And that's where we get the suck. Like this beam of light, this UFO was sucking the life out of Maria.
Now, I don't mean to turn this into a therapy session, but high school Ian, did Marvin ever take your soul with a little suck? Were you put in a situation that you shouldn't have been in?
I don't know. Maybe I blacked it all out.
You know, I got him a 7-Eleven Slurpee one time, and he tried to return a favor, and I said, no chupa chupa, Marvin.
Smacked his nose. Bad Marvin.
You're
Bad Marvin. Go do some meth and leave me alone.
Future Ian podcaster would never forgive me for this. Get fucked, Marvin.
I'm pretty sure Marvin lives in that trailer park where all those dudes were buying us beer back in the day.
He owned the trailer.
Yeah. Ian's going to slowly start piecing this together like, wait a minute. He did chupa chupa.
Look, I unlocked a real hidden memory. This is going to be something, huh?
Ian's like, I was just trying to give
psychic high school Ian impersonation. Wait, what the fuck?
He was just trying to give out his band demos CDs, and the guy's like, I'll pass them out wherever you want. You let me get a little chupa chupa on you.
He's going to sound like Neo in Matrix. What? That shit was real?
I remember that part. That was insane. Whoa. I was like, whoa. That's wild, man.
So eventually, dozens of people reported physical symptoms resembling radiation exposure, including burns. They had small puncture wounds, temporary paralysis, nausea, and fatigue. Dr. Carvalho treated over 35 patients between September and November. Villagers imposed their own curfews. Fishing trips were canceled, which that really hurt their economy significantly. Like, it was really all fishing based. So when guys, they were refusing to go to work, families gathered in groups to feel safer. People started lighting bonfires and stuff, hoping to ward off the Chupa Chupa. And church attendance surged because rumors were spreading that the lights were either like a divine punishment or a warning of a disaster.
Yeah, you might get a little Chupa Chupa at church, so yeah, you gotta be aware.
Some unwanted
Chupa Chupa. Yeah. This is solid evidence, stacking up over here. That's not a small number of people this happened to. And even if it was like group hysteria, would these physical symptoms manifest themselves over all these people like this? That's a tough sell.
Yeah. This is one of the best documented UFO stories as far as evidence is concerned.
I bet there's tons of it. Or is there an explanation like some foreign substance, hallucinatory in nature, was introduced to these primitive people and it went around the village or something like that?
Yeah, I think there might be something later on in the episode and conversation to be had about maybe like the CIA doing something.
Or that. Yeah.
God damn.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking CIA.
Gotta ruin everything.
Yeah.
They loved doing stuff in South America back in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, they did some stuff.
So at this point, people in Colares wanted the military to step in because incidents kept ramping up. On November 5th, 1977, Donna Clodmira Rodriguez de Paxao was sleeping in her hammock when around 1:30 a.m. she suddenly woke up to an intense greenish light flooding her room. It wasn't like a normal light. It was cold, pulsating, and, quote, unnatural. The light quickly focused on her, casting long shadows around the room. Before she could react, the beam of light struck her. It hit her in the chest, and it moved down to her right hand. Clodmira described the sensation as if her body were being sucked or drained.
Chupa chupa.
She tried to
chupa chupa. Chupa chupa.
She tried to scream out for her cousin, who was sleeping in another room, but no sound came out. Her cousin, however, woke up from the light and screamed. The noise seemed to frighten the light away and vanished. Clodmira then started yelling, quote, "I'm ruined. The animal sucked me." I don't know if that's like a weird translation or something, but that's how the file was translated.
That's what the victim of Mr. Hands yelled out before he passed away suddenly. As his perforated colon fell out of his body.
Clodmira had burns on her chest and hand. They were red blisters and resembled radiation exposure. Her right hand was numb, and the feeling didn't come back for weeks. She also experienced a pounding headache and extreme weakness for days after the encounter.
Could this be the U.S. military testing experimental warfare or stuff like that?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance.
Because who better it's done, right? A population like this?
Yeah, I mean, the CIA was all over South America in the 70s, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's all this comes down to.
I don't mean to jump ahead, but would you include the orbs that the Air Force pilots saw as well as like testing against them as well?
Well, yeah, that's a different part of it.
They're not as primitive. So I don't know, or it could just be stories build up after hearing one thing. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm probably jumping ahead, but
look, the number of civilians the CIA was, responsible for killing just by propping up Pinochet alone in Chile in the 70s is, this is not even comparable. So what's another 40 villagers, right?
Right.
I don't like the way you're speaking about our Central Intelligence Agency, Dave.
That's just too bad, sir. I will speak my truth.
Final truth.
motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck if Marvin likes it or not.
Fucking Marvin, man. I don't know. He's a creepy guy, and I only know a few things about him.
I'm not a fan.
You were.
That's why Ian blocked him out of his life. He can't take him anymore.
So this is when the government got involved and launched Operation Saucer. The Brazilian Air Force assigned Captain Urange Holanda to lead the mission. Holanda formed a team of 15 men, including photographers, intelligence officers, and technical specialists. As soon as they arrived in Colares, they began witnessing the strange phenomena firsthand. On their first night, they saw a bright red light hovering silently over the mangroves near Ponta do Machadinho. After a few moments, it disappeared at an incredible speed, too fast to follow. Over the next few days, the team saw more lights, blue and yellow, moving in erratic patterns across the sky. They captured faint pictures of the objects within their cameras and telescopes, but the poor quality of the times make the pictures pretty underwhelming. And honestly, even phones today are pretty underwhelming. When you see people try to film stuff, it's never great trying to film a little dot up in the sky.
No.
Yeah.
And Captain Holanda's the one that killed himself. We talked about in the beginning, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So he's on the scene now. Within the first night, they're already seeing lights in the sky. As the mission went on, the lights began interacting with the team itself. In one incident, a glowing orb emitted a beam that struck a soldier, temporarily paralyzing him. The soldier described an intense heat radiating through his body, leaving him unable to move for several seconds. He later reported numbness in his limbs and feeling unusually weak. Captain Hollanda documented the incident, suggesting that the light deliberately targeted the soldier. Like there was either an intelligence behind the light or, something was operating this light.
Doing a little chupa chupa on the military guys.
So, but I could also see the CIA doing that too, right? They wouldn't give a fuck about
the Brazilian military. No. Didn't we talked about in another one not too long ago about the Brazilian UFO where they had a nickname for the United States Air Force. What was the interplay with that? I don't remember this, so just cut it. Never mind.
Fuck, I can't. I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
That one with that documentary where the guy was down there and they were trying to find the spot. And
yeah.
They had some interesting name for the Air Force planes that came, and like it was a clue to something. Never mind.
It was like really specific.
Yeah.
You can also leave it in because this is how I felt when I talked about the monkeys getting fucked by humans.
Yeah.
Remember oh no. And then within like 10 minutes of us posting, they were like, oh, it's this episode.
Human Z.
I was like, I know we covered this, but I have no fucking idea what it was. So Human Z was its own bonus show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't, we thought it was a news story that we might have covered at the time.
We knew it was Patreon, though.
Yeah, we ain't fucking doing that. Yeah, right.
Do that out in public.
No, you got to pay to get that content, that premium content. It's amazing that like, it's not like the content. This is off air. It's not like the content gets better. We just get more immature and juvenile.
I would argue that does in fact make it better.
Well, we'll let them decide that. I just mean like, we get off the rails. Anyways. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When was the last time you stopped and thanked someone in your life? A coworker, a friend, maybe even your therapist. This month is all about gratitude. And if there's one person we don't thank enough, it's ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that isn't easy. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. Therapy provides us with an opportunity to reflect on who we are and what we appreciate. It allows us to better ourselves and is a way to give yourself a mental health hug and say thank you. Therapy can also be a great way to learn positive coping skills, set boundaries, and empower yourself to be the best version of you. Therapy is not just for those who've experienced trauma. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. So let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/necro today and get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/necro.
During another encounter, a glowing orb followed the team's vehicle as they drove back from interviewing some eyewitnesses. The light kept its distance, changed in color from reddish yellow to bluish white, and seemed to track their movements. When the team stopped to investigate, the orb disappeared like it didn't want to be seen up close. One of the more dramatic incidents happened near the Colares lighthouse. Late one night, a large circular light that was a little more than 30 feet wide descended near the lighthouse. It emitted a bluish glow that lit up the entire area. The object projected a thin, focused beam of light that swept across the beach and water, appearing to scan the area. When the beam briefly passed over the team's observation point, several members felt heat and pressure, causing them to panic, thinking that they were being attacked or something like that.
A lot of chupa chupa going on. Call those barracks bunnies, right? A lot of chupa chupa in the military.
After 4 months into the investigation, Operation Saucer ended in December of 1977, and it's kind of anticlimactic, but this is all we know. We don't know the results of the investigation, like any of questions were answered at all. Based on Holanda's 1997 interview, it doesn't really sound like it. There's, of course, the theory of aliens, but maybe they were drones being operated by something that we don't understand. We always talk about balls of lights or orbs, and that seems to be like all the evidence we see anymore, just balls of lights or orbs, a lot of daytime orbs even now. Yeah.
Or maybe somebody high up in the U.S. military got wind that they were investigating down there, and they're like, well, I think this investigation's over if you want to keep receiving any military aid in the country of Brazil. Don't you guys?
Yeah.
We may have... let's just end this investigation, shall we?
Look, we may have done some shit.
Yeah.
We may not have. But if you want our funding, you're going to walk the fuck away right now and never speak of this
Exactly
again.
Right. Might have been a misunderstanding.
We'll let some internet neckbeards bring this up in a few years, and we'll deal with them accordingly.
Yeah. That Ian guy's going to be born in a couple years. We'll leave it to him. Him and Marvin. Go figure that fucking shit out.
Well, Marvin was probably already born, right? Like he was.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
Fucking.
Oh, yeah.
He's old as shit. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't like Marvin.
No, fuck Marvin.
The 4chan leaker that we've talked about a bunch on bonus episodes recently, and we talked about him on some OT episodes. That's the first thing that I can remember hearing about, like this drone theory, if we're going with aliens. And it kind of makes sense. I'm kind of opening up to the idea that UFOs are just just drones from somewhere else. These orbs are always estimated to be fairly small. Like they don't seem like they would be comfortable for an alien to sit in. The 4chan leaker also said that the big pyramid thing that comes out of the ocean every once in a while lets these orbs or drones go. They said maybe, we being the United States military, speculate that these orbs are being made inside this pyramid thing.
I think it's very clear at this point that something's going on in the ocean. I don't think that that's deniable any longer.
That pyramid thing in the ocean is just absolutely terrifying to think about.
I've never...
Just unreal.
Like, that 4chan person, either it's the best LARP that's ever happened because we're still talking about it now, or there's like some for real shit in there. There's a lot of stuff, like theories that I've never seen before or thought of, so there's a lot of original content in that if they're lying, if it's a hoax, whatever.
Yeah.
Which it does sound crazy, but there have been waves of drones flying around recently that look like ours, but they don't act like it. Just this past 2 weeks in the UK, they've had tons of drones, and they're the media over there is calling them drone incursions and stuff, but nobody knows where these, who's operating these drones. And then it just started the past week or so over New Jersey, and the FAA was restricting airspace over there.
Is it possible?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, is it possible that someone's modified drone technology underground and it's just a human thing, but they're kind of moving how we wouldn't expect them to be, but someone made some enhancements to make them appear extraterrestrial in nature?
I don't know. And then someone compared a video that they had taken of something that they saw and compared it to one of these drones from New Jersey, and it looked very similar. It was really weird looking. They definitely don't look like normal drones, but George Knapp was talking about this, and he said he feels like the use of drone is a word to just keep people kind of chill about it. Like if they say UFO or UAP, that sounds a lot different than saying drone.
Well, yeah, because we're all used to kind of drones now, right? We see them, we know what they are, we know what they do to an extent. So now they can just call anything a drone for the time being, and it, we kind of accept that then and say, oh, okay, it was drone, whatever.
That's an interesting angle, sure.
But the FBI is asking for help and stuff and any information. So I feel we should be able to figure out who's flying drones. That's something the United States should be able to know.
You would think.
I think there is something to what Dave said, though, too, is maybe there's someone who has maybe mastered some kind of drone technology that nobody else has caught on to yet, and they're going to get away with it for a little bit. Obviously, people will figure it out, but, I could see that being the cause of a quick little hysteria for a while.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I think that's what it is, but I could see that definitely being possible.
There's definitely an uptick in UFO sightings within the past month or two.
Oh, that's for sure. People are sending us all kinds of videos, and there's sightings and all over the place.
If you go on the UFO subreddit, there's tons of videos up there, and they seem credible. Some are stupid, of course, but there's a lot of mass sightings too. There's one in Kansas the other day. There was a big one in Arizona where people are all seeing the same thing from different vantage points, but no one cares. Right?
Maybe there's been so many that people are just I feel like someone like me who has not been, it's never been on my radar until we started doing this podcast, obviously, right. UFOs or aliens, that I think people hear about it so much now without actual verification and confirmation that they're like, okay, there's another one, but let's wait and, until someone actually proves it, it's just another one of those maybe hoaxes or maybe nots or maybe something that's going to be a flash in the pan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and maybe that's the plan, though. Maybe, Ian, that's why no one gives a fuck anymore, because it's just overload. Maybe that's what someone wants.
Like we've had so many what ifs that it's almost like, okay, I'll check back when we have something of proof. Like, give me something new other than a pixelated photo or something in the sky that we can't quite explain, but until then it means nothing to me.
Well, because like Ian was mentioning earlier, a lot of the pictures aren't great. So, I mean, after a while, it's fucking light in the sky. I can't tell what this is. And when you see that over and over and over again, you kind of get desensitized. You're like, all right. Show me a fucking gray alien walking around in Manhattan and Times Square and, vaporizing people. Awesome. Now we're in fucking business, right?
Fuck yeah. Now, then I would believe. I would believe that.
I think there definitely is something to the desensitized thing, though, right? Because there's
I think so
much shit going on in the world that it's like, I think a lot of people are like, I already feel like UFOs are probably a real thing. So there's a lot of more important shit affecting me than, what's going on with aliens, which I guess that's like the perfect time to sneak in some real shit, I guess, if you're releasing files and whatever.
And maybe they're playing the long game. So now based on that, Ian, and I think I kind of agree with you, we now are all like, yeah, we believe, whatever. We see it we see those videos, but okay, blah, blah, blah. It's like we've dipped our toes in the waters. Another 20 years from now, we're going to be like, yeah, that's a spaceship. We've seen those videos hundreds of times. Yeah. It's no big deal. And then slowly you're just like, yeah, that's a fucking gray. He walks past me on the sidewalk every Tuesday going to Aldi. He likes cucumbers and ranch dressing and Doritos. They're just slowly kind of conditioning us to be like, yeah, this is our reality, and that's fine.
Yeah, we're really talking about a possibility of UFOs coming in and out or being just down in the ocean at all times and coming out, whatever.
It's insane.
It's kind of a big
that's
thing.
an actual thing we're talking about. It's crazy.
But you're right. No one cares.
If you would have told me before we started this podcast, hey, Mike, 5 years from now, you're going to be entertaining the idea legitimately that UFOs come from the ocean, I'd be like, fuck you. And I'm not even going to start this podcast because that's ridiculous. Here we are.
Those videos are so crazy. Somebody posted one a week or so ago over in California, and it just looked like white lights going in and out of the ocean, but it's like, well, what the fuck is that? It's just super weird.
But now you factor AI in, you can't trust anything anymore. So who's to say? You can't believe anything you see anymore.
I see so many videos online now that I just immediately scroll past because I'm like, it's probably AI. Mm-hmm. And I have no necessarily reason for thinking that about any of those specific videos, but that's just that's where my mind goes now.
But at some point we're at a tipping point here, and it's going to blur reality and AI, and then what do we do? How do you know? They tell anything.
Did we talk about on the show that whole idea of the internet will eventually die because there'll be too much AI content? There'll be more AI created content than actual human created content.
Yeah, it'll just eat itself because.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like aliens should just hit the reset button on us.
It would not be the worst thing in the world.
Just reset the simulation. We could start over. No harm, no foul.
I do kind of think it's interesting, the idea that the 4chan leaker put out that they don't care about us at all. They have zero interest in us. They're just doing their own thing in the ocean, and we don't really know much about them at all. They just don't give a fuck. I don't know what that would mean for the abduction phenomena. Maybe that shit's all fake. Who knows? Mm-hmm.
But do objectives collide somewhere down the road? Do they eventually care about us? They're like, kind of like this planet, but these people here, they're kind of killing the planet.
They're dumping too much shit in the ocean now.
Yeah, we don't really like all this benzene in the rivers. I mean, do we really need these people? They're not really really providing value to the planet, per se.
They're like, this planet, it's great. The people,
Yeah.
it's the worst. Got to do something about them.
They just hit a button and turn all oxygen into chlorine gas, and like every person on Earth drops dead, and they just, that was easy.
Goddamn, pal. As somebody who woke up last night not able to breathe, that is fucking terrifying. I have never quite had an experience like that where you cannot catch your breath for an extended period of time. Holy fuck.
That's scary.
You want to talk about a helpless feeling. God damn.
They're like when you're playing football and you get the wind knocked out of you. It's horrible.
Well, pal, I didn't play football. I was a man. I played hockey growing up. So I didn't play football. Jeez, I don't even allow fights. But yes, I know what you mean.
So when I was going through all these files, I pulled a couple stories out that I thought were cool, kind of creepy. The first one, on September 22nd, 1977, 36-year-old Raimundo Francisco de Chagas was walking home when suddenly a bright yellow light startled him. At first he thought it was a car, but the light was too intense. Then it veered towards him. Realizing it wasn't a vehicle, Raimundo panicked and ran off the road and dove into some bushes. However, the light didn't leave. It moved deliberately, shining sharp blue beams in every direction, like it was searching for something. Raimundo crawled deeper into a grove of palm trees, pressing against a tree trunk and holding his breath, too afraid to move. He couldn't see the object clearly, but he heard a faint mechanical hum in the distance, and he stayed frozen against the tree until the light finally disappeared.
God damn.
And so I don't know if I said it before, but like when you go through the files, it's just page after page of just log entries, pretty much, you know.
All in that village.
Right, yeah. And a lot of times it's multiple log entries from different people at different vantage points. Like you'll have something that happens at 7:00 at night, and then you can kind of trace it down because you're getting more reports from people at 8:15 in another location, you know.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this is just his wife out looking for him. He got drunk after work and didn't come home.
He's just hiding out there.
Yeah. He's in a moped or something looking for his dumb ass. He's blowing a .27. He didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Just hugging that palm tree. The next one, on the evening of October 12th, 1977, 20-year-old Manuel Santo was outside his home, hanging out with his friends Julio, Paulo, Deca, and Carlito. They were interrupted by a glowing yellow light that appeared in the sky, moving steadily from east to west. At first they assumed it was a plane, but as they watched, the light slowed and stopped, hovering just what they estimated 65 feet away. The object was barrel-shaped, glowing reddish yellow, and had a semi-transparent front. Through the translucent surface, Manuel could see two humanoid figures inside.
All right, that's
the first.
That's an upgrade. That's a little different.
Yeah, that's the first one where you get the any talk of figures being inside.
Just the word humanoid is scary. Just
It's a little off-putting.
Yeah, when you read or hear the word humanoid, the image just appears in your head like a little creepy. Humanoid.
Old UFO books called Gray's Humanoids back in the day. Like I remember being a kid and getting my hands on some old UFO books from the library, some of the first ones, and being like really creeped out and scared by the humanoid.
That's
thing.
a creepy word, man. Humanoid.
So mine's a little different. My first remembrance of the word humanoid was Bobby the Brain Heenan used to call wrestlers he didn't like humanoids, or like wrestling fans. He would call them the humanoids. So I always think of him as well. But I agree that since we've been covering aliens, humanoids is just an unsettling word.
It really
I'd rather
is.
just call it a gray. I like gray much better.
Gray is like, it's nice. It's a nice
You think I'm
color,
more like
gray.
an ET kind of like friendly
it's
little
friendly.
gray. Like
Gray.
that's your little buddy.
Yeah, a little
Like a
gray.
humanoid.
Sure.
Humanoid wants to chupa chupa your soul.
Humanoid, you picture
no
like
good.
the Travis Walton movie when they're doing stuff to him. That's what
Yes.
humanoid conjures up.
Yeah.
Then the last one I have is on the night of November 2nd, 1977, between 7 and 9:30 p.m., a bright light appeared hovering just below the treetops. It was so intense it made the area look like daylight. The object was circular, about 10 feet wide and 6.5 feet tall, with a reddish dome on top that glowed faintly. A fisherman nearby stood frozen watching as a porthole opened in the craft and out floated a humanoid figure.
Another fucking humanoid.
Yeah, and that's how it was in the files. They specifically call them humanoids anytime they're seen. The being was short but muscular, wearing a seamless dark uniform that reflected the light. Suddenly, a reddish beam shot from its hand, aimed directly at the fisherman. Panicked, he ran, leaving behind his fishing gear. As he ran, he looked back to see the being examining his fishing net. Its movements were slow and deliberate. He said like it was studying the fishing net. The figure eventually floated back into the craft. So he's like running, looking back the whole time, seeing this. And the craft began moving at a low altitude, shining a searchlight like it was trying to find this guy. He sprinted toward his friends, who were in a boat nearby. As he was telling them what happened, the craft returned, this time glowing differently. Its top was glowing red, while its bottom was a blue-green. The porthole opened, and the humanoid being came back out. At that point, all of the men took off, leaving behind their fishing gear and boat, which, that's your livelihood. So if the military reports are to be believed, and these men are to be believed in something scared them enough to make them abandon all of their, or at least risk leaving all that stuff behind.
Yeah. Fuck.
Something definitely was happening in this area.
Oh, something
I
was
just don't
happening.
know what.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you have all these very credible military witnesses. Like the download of files is like 17,000 words. You know what I mean? Like I just trimmed this down into a podcast episode. There's something had to have been going on.
I agree. I don't know if anyone would disagree that there wasn't something going on. This isn't a complete hoax like a lot of those stories we talked about. It's just a matter of, was this a military type thing when they were preyed upon, or was this actually something?
Was there? We know we've had the big release of files from this country and whatnot. Was there any activity, like correlating activity around that same time anywhere else in the world, or I guess in the U.S.?
Sure.
Look at those MK Ultra files and see what they were up to in 1977 around this time.
See if the word Brazil comes up at any point in that.
Chupa chupa.
Right.
That's where Jim Jones headed. That's where the theory is that he was flipped was in Brazil.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
After getting a little chupa chupa.
Yeah. Realistically, I would lean towards that it was something U.S. military related, or the CIA was up to something, testing something out.
I don't think that's beyond the scope of plausibility. Sure, they were lacking morals in that time frame and doing all kinds of dirty stuff. So sure.
Oh, in that time frame.
The UFOs way up in the sky that the pilots were reporting, I think that's a whole different scenario. It was just happening in the same time frame.
So you think that's more of a coincidence then?
Yeah, I think the UFOs are like a real thing, but on their own. And then the Chupa Chupa phenomena is something that the military was doing.
Maybe the Brazilian military shared reports of this UFO activity up there, and we took it upon ourselves as a window of opportunity to do these experiments that maybe we were considering, that we could pawn off on that UFO activity as the culprit.
They're like, hey, they already believe that it's aliens. Let's just get in there real quick.
Exactly. We were looking for a population to test this kind of mind-fucking whatever drone technology on, and they're seeing some shit down there, so let's get on a plane. Something was going on.
Yeah.
Very credible.
This is one I don't really have a strong opinion on any which way. I think that's all probably very likely or possible.
Who's to say?
It's creepy.
Ian,
regardless, either way.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's if it's aliens doing it, it's super scary. If it's a government testing some shit out on you and you're just trying to sleep in your house at night, and you're getting shot with lasers.
Fuck yeah.
Well, I just keep going back to the pilots too. Like you got some orb or some unidentified craft possibly within 700 feet of you. Or like you said, Ian, the ones that like swarmed them. Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to be like, what's going on here?
Well, then that gets into like all the recent UFO stuff and all those, the different hearings we've been having in Congress. Like, a lot of those guys are telling stories of these orbs swarming them and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it still goes on. It's just, if all these military pilots are to be believed, there's just nothing we can do about it. They're just, because
what would we do?
Yeah.
Right. You launch missiles.
Yeah. Did you find anything else, Ian, in your research? Anything else we should touch on or make note of?
Nothing specifically. There's a new Netflix series called Investigation Alien. It's with George Knapp. So he's the journalist that interviewed Bob Lazar back in the day for the first time, and he was on Art Bell, Coast to Coast a lot. So,
have you watched that one? Have you watched the show?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it's episode 2 talks about Brazilian stuff, and George Knapp goes down to Brazil to talk to people and stuff. So it's cool. I would check it out.
There you go.
All right, George.
It's the Ian nod of approval. All right, Dave, what do you got on your end? What do you got for Patreon?
I've got some new patrons. Thank you to new patrons Ashley Howe, Austin L., Georgina Williams, Tom. It is what it is. That's right. That's right. Corinne Cassell, Chase Miller, Salil, Eden Kester, Brad, Grower Not a Shower, Rafael Perez, James, Nicole Grubb, Lil Cracker, Jennifer Watson, Dustin Miller, Joe Davies, Sarah, Austin CM93, Vagina Eaton, Ruthie Poothie, Jacob Popperwill, Erica, D. Wolstenholm, Becky Brewer, Ham Strokers Ejacula, Jessica Pippett. I slapped a necro sticker on a squad car, also a U.S. Marine vet. Thank you for your service.
God damn.
Fill up the whole squad car, head to toe, necro stickers. Bobby Joe Robertson, Andy Stone, Compact Boy. Mike says kayfabe as often as Peter Curtin comes.
If it fits, it fits.
That's what she said. Camille Snodgrass, Monica Merritt, Basic Bitch Aria, Rachel Emery, Mud Daddy, Angela Martignetti, Tough Tiff, Martin Lucas, and Christy Strathern Burrows. Thank you, new patrons. Welcome aboard. Treasure trove of audio delights are now at your fingertips.
Ian, what do you got on your end?
Today I just started part 1 of the Texas Killing Fields over on Necro Straight Edge. So we got 3 weeks of that coming up, or 2 more weeks.
You're closing out 2024 with a bang there.
Yeah. I don't know, that story just creeps me out, how there's 3, maybe 4 decades worth of murder just along that whole stretch of highway, however many serial killers were out there. So, but go check that out over on Necro Straight Edge.
So part 1 available now as people are listening to this?
Yep.
And then you'll do the next 2 weeks, which will then lead us into our probably 2-week Christmas break from Straight Edge.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Dave, anything else on your end?
I would say we have the Patreon now has gift subscriptions available. So if you're looking for a cool gift for that special someone, you can gift them anywhere from 1 month to a full year of Necronomipod Patreon. Find that at patreon.com/necronomipod/gift.
Boom. There you go. The gift that gives all year long.
It could.
Or as long as you want it to give. Sure. Maybe you only love them like to April and you give them like an April gift. I'm not trying to say make a big commitment. Maybe it's just a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And, you're not sure if they're the one yet. Give them till April and you find out.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, like a 2 or 3 month.
Yeah. We'll dip their toes in.
Yeah. And then you decide at April, is this relationship worth it? Do I want to continue with them and renew their Patreon subscription to Necronomipod? Or do I want to call it quits and go, bang their best friend? Whatever. It's your call.
Then get their best friend a gift subscription.
You should absolutely get their best friend a subscription also.
Every relationship going forward should have our subscription involved in some degree.
That's fair.
I think that goes without question.
Okay.
I don't understand how you could even call yourself in a relationship if it does not involve a subscription to our Patreon. I'm not sure it's even love. Anyways, we are at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Necronomipod. Like we said, patreon.com/Necronomipod. Amazon.com, search Necronomipod for all of our merch. And necronomipod.com.
All right, you guys ready for a cool down beer?
Cheers.